Hello everyone, it's time for my faction now. So we're going to be talking about the brand new additions to Slaanesh and TIDES of Torment. These are all the new units, the loads of heroes, and a few different things which are going to make the game a little bit better for the factions that I tend to play. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bias in this one. Now, the Snake Riders aren't in this clip, but they are in the video. There is a visual issue that has been reported to CA, so they're going to be fixing that up. The weird thing is that the Snake Riders then cause the mask to bug out, so during showcases it can be a bit weird. But Slaanesh is getting a lot of stuff. They're getting some flying units, they're getting a lot of heavy hitters, very fast cav, dark elves, different types of heroes. The Exalted Champion, probably one of my favorite designs. Can't believe that miniature finally made it into Total War. So let's talk about these new additions. And the first thing we're going to talk about is, I know a lot of people were worried, but yes, every character choice that can ride the mount is getting the mount. So these are the Lord and Hero options that have been available since the launch of Warhammer 3 and Champions of Chaos. Yes, they can ride it, which means that the new mortals can also ride on demonic steeds. So yeah, you can have quite a lot here. It's great to see. It's something that a lot of people were worried about that might just be for STYRKAAR only, but no, here we have them. God Touch mounts are very important for army theming, so don't you worry. Alright, so the paid Legendary Lord is DECHALA, the denied one. Very good stats overall. Less armor, but she is quite defensive. You've got stances there with the dancers also, which will allow her to change her playstyle quite dramatically. She's got very high missile block also, so don't you worry about that if you're scared that, you know, Cathayan Barrage is going to hit you quite hard, or High Elven Archers. I've been able to use her quite a bit, because as you can imagine, the moment I got access to the build, I jumped onto her campaign, and yeah, she is very, very strong. She's able to hit so hard, alongside everything that is coming in the DLC, so now she's going to have a really big power jump, which, to be honest, has been needed for quite some time. I can't really find any fault with the character, barring the fact that, you know, she's taken so long to come out anyway, but yeah, only a matter of time now. She's a very effective combat character, and you can take out other characters without too much of a problem. You've got the stance switches, so it's kind of like the mask stances, but more focused around your combat, so deflecting, or being able to have a lot more damage resistance, being able to do a lot more damage. There is buffs and negatives towards it. However, it really does allow you to tailor the character to how you want it. She is very, very strong, but she will still struggle against, say, for example, Chosen of Tzeentch. If you get surrounded by something that does have a decent amount of armor piercing, or that just gets a lot of attacks out, yeah, you will die out. But the stance switching will allow you to really keep that character alive and go for the exact thing that you need. It's something that I think got introduced the first time with Festus, the Leech Lord, through Champions of Chaos, and I'm glad to see it used again where appropriate, because it definitely does fit here. She's definitely one of, like, the fun characters, I would say, and she gets really, really strong in campaign. I can't wait to talk about her campaign in, well, about 2 weeks. The Mask is your free Legendary Lord, and I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I'm really happy they went with the older design. There's just a lot more character here. The new one looks great, the one in Age of Sigmar, but this one I'm emotionally attached to. But yeah, so she can't mount on anything. She's just a foot character, but she's very fast. She's able to do dance swapping, which is kind of similar to that of Festus. Her campaign is pretty interesting, and I can't give details until the embargo, but I have been playing with her for a decent amount of time. She plays how I imagine her compared to the lore and so on, which I think is really important with a character like this. If you get a character and it's really known for just a little bit of lore, their translation into a video game needs to be as close to that as possible. As a character, the Mask is quite great in combat. You can take her there and just throw her into the field. The little dancers that she has, they act as both buff for your own troops and also negatives towards the enemy. One of my favorite ones there is the one that just does passive damage to the enemy. It's not going to be as strong as Festus, but it's also going to reduce their leadership. And this is going to allow you just to really ham it in. You can put her down there in the middle of a choke point, and she'll be able to hold without too much of a problem. I mean, here she is fighting some Chaos Warriors of Nurgle alongside a Chaos Lord of Nurgle, and she's holding out just fine. If things become a problem, well, you've got an ability to reduce the vigor for the enemies, but also improve yours and give yourself a little bit of healing. She's a support slash debuffer lord. I wouldn't really call her as strong as, say, for example, a Mortis engine, but she's there more like a corpse cart in a sense. And I think it performs very well. She still dances around the battlefield. The abilities are tied to her dances as it stands. And really, it is what you expected from a character like this. So far, so good in terms of battle. STYRKAAR is your legendary hero, melee focused, and he looks so good. So obviously, very iconic miniature for Slaanesh, one of the ones that a lot of people reference when they talk about heroes. He is very good at melee, he's very good at basically being your character killer. Also, he's definitely a very good duelist, and those mounts are going to let him zero in on characters without a problem, because it's speed 100. It's wild on the damage that he can actually put out. The way I've been using him in battle is finding like a spellcaster lord or an engineer and just sniping them out super quickly. Honestly, more than anything, I'm just happy that I'm getting all the characters that I've been wanting for a while. STYRKAAR is one of my favorite minis. You'll see him when I finally do my Slaanesh army reveal for the old world. I use his model quite heavily. It's just great to see, and the banner is just such a nice touch. I don't care what anyone else says, the only way to field this character is on the demonic mount. Anything else is just like wrong. So he is so freaking fast with the mount, and that sonic boom ability just to kind of push everything aside so you can actually just get out and then go and charge onto a spellcaster or get ready for another charge. It's wonderful. This is one of my all-time favorite miniatures. I own a number of both him on foot and on mount because I've got some really fun plans for another showcase that I'm going to be doing for my armies once I move and so on. It's going to be heavily focused on Slaanesh, and he and, well, his model, because it's not really him, he's not active around this period as far as I'm aware. I'm talking about the old world, like, it's going to be centerpieces. It's so good to see the demonic mounts, and it's so good to see STYRKAAR in. It would have been nice to get him with a helmet, but I guess they wanted to show off the face just for a bit of a difference. But he's really good at combat. He can rip apart most things. I've got a number of battles that I've pre-recorded, which he's already in there. You'll see him pop up a number of times. It's kind of wild, I'm not going to lie. Exalted Heroes of Slaanesh are one of your two generic hero choices coming in this DLC, where they're a duelist, anti-infantry, melee experts, armored. They've also got shields too, which... yeah, they're basically a bit of everything. One of the best melee heroes that you're going to have access to. The benefit of this also is that you can have them mounted on a horse, on a demonic steed, or on a chariot, so it depends on your flavor. They are also very capable on foot, so early on, if you're going to be recruiting them to your armies, you're going to be able to have them defending your sorcerer lords. Yes, sorcerer lords can defend themselves in melee, but here comes a little bit of extra protection with encourage and, yeah, pretty much everything. I'm a big fan. It's also good to see these classic style minis making it into Total War. Very big on the visual stuff. You get the benefit of also getting the Hell Scourge there too, alongside just being with the mutation of the Claw, which has a little bit of armor piercing, you know, just... awesome. Honestly, awesome design. The Exalted Hero is a perfect support character if you want your spellcasters safe. You could also have them on foot alongside your Chaos Warriors. They do alright. They excel on the mount. I think like the Demonic Steeds are very, very good, but it's perfectly fine to have them on foot. Be warned that if you do have them alone, they will get surrounded and get, yeah, their teeth kicked in, but that's expected when Chaos Warriors of Nurgle are involved. I can't find faults with the hero. I prefer it on the mount, but I think it's just the bias towards the mount. I've been having a few characters in my own campaign on foot, and yeah, they're perfectly fine. I don't see that much of a problem. Slaanesh is eating really well here because you get two generic new heroes. So, like, if this one doesn't look too good to you, well, you've got the Anointed. The DRUCHII Anointed is your other generic hero. So this one's really cool because it's got a great weapon. It's always nice because, you know, that's armor piercing. You've got lesser spellcaster. And the way that this works in campaign is you get to pick the skills. So you've got a mixture of the Lore of Shadows or also the Lore of Slaanesh. You get them here with just a few uses. They're not supposed to be spellcasters. They're just secondary. The damage output itself is more them in melee. You can have them on cold ones too, or on a demonic steed. It's always good to have secondary or even tertiary hero choices because it allows for more diverse armies. I like the idea of just having some Slaanesh Dark Elves. It fits so well and it's such a nice throwback to the Storm of Chaos. Naturally, we do have some Dark Elf units, so they mix up in armies quite nicely and they don't just, you know, stick out like a sore thumb. So it's got some minor spells that it can use. Basically, in campaign, it's like a skill line, and then you'll get them as abilities. Even without the spells, it's really strong. I mean, this is a character which has a great weapon. It's very good at anti-armor. You can see it here just basically just kicking the ass of the Chaos Lord of Nurgle, who is very, very durable. So you can imagine how strong this guy is, even dealing with the anti-effects that the Nurgle Lord does have. It's a very good support character. Does a lot more damage than the Exalted Hero. So again, you've got the option there. Different users. You've got it on a cold one also to be fast. If you wanted to be even faster, a Demonic Steed. Which I'm guessing Creative Assembly got its money worth from that mount because there's a lot of Demonic Steeds. But it's worth it because those are Demonic Steeds. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Slaanesh is your generic Lord choice, and that's what I've been waiting for a while, because obviously it doesn't just benefit the Mono God roster, but it also benefits the Warriors of Chaos if you're looking for a Slaanesh build. So, Spellcaster, you've got access to the Law of Slaanesh or the Law of Shadows, and you do have also quite a lot of mount options. You've got the Horse, you've got the Demonic Steed, which makes them so fast. I feel like a lot of people are just going to be beelining for the Demonic Steed. Or you've also got the War Shrine, very, very good overall. Not much to talk about here, barring the fact that now we've got all the options, and the more options, the better. This is something that we've seen when it comes to the Tzeentch DLC, the Khorne DLC, and the Nurgle DLC. It's great just to have a complete roster choice of different Lord and Hero characters. So let's jump into the units now. Devotees are two different units. So you've got one with crossbow with only 130 range. I would have liked a little bit more. And then you've got the standard one, which is anti-infantry. They all have dodge and stuff. They're very good at killing stuff. This is the only one that doesn't really need a battle clip when it comes to the showcase, mostly because, I mean, they're basically just Dark Elf shades. I will point out here that I'm not too keen on the fact that they don't really have a lot of Slaanesh markings. It does feel like it's just, well, it is just the basic recolor. Now, they're not necessarily a bad unit, considering the fact that they do have the Mark of Slaanesh. It does make them killier than shades. I like them. Again, I think visual would have probably been a bit better just to kind of like give them a real good look, especially since the Kurgans look different to the normal Marauder Horsemen. But the utility is there. We finally have some range with Slaanesh, which is good. I think a very important thing is once they're done with the arrows, yeah, you can just like put them in combat and they're not going to just die out really quickly. The big thing here is multiplayer-wise, it's not really good. The crossbow ones aren't too good because they're very expensive. Campaign-wise, they are much better than the normal melee one. I mean, you can see this here. The crossbows don't really do that bad damage by any stretch of the word, but you're paying for crossbows which don't really do too much. It's 130 range, right? Whereas the swordsmen, well, the melee version, are going to get in there. They're additional hand weapons, anti-infantry. They end up here dealing with the 2 units of bearmen fighting them, and also the Chaos Lord Undivided, and they're still holding. Yeah, they're taking some big damage, but they're taking basically everything down with it, so I see them as a really powerful trooper. They've definitely got their uses. That's a big thing. The thing is, I think a lot of people were just expecting like bowmen or javelin throwers, which is functionally the same, but, you know, the Dark Elf thing just felt weird. I think it's, again, linked up to the lack of individuality here, where they're just, like, coloured pink and that's it. Champions of Slaanesh, this is the exciting one. So I've been really curious to see how Creative Assembly was going to interpret them, and it seems that they're going to be like aspiring champions, and I can confirm that they can be upgraded in the Warriors of Chaos from the Chosen, which is absolutely amazing. So they're very strong as they stand, very, very powerful. The fact is, obviously, you know, they're fast, they've got armor piercing, they can get a lot of attacks in because, you know, the multi-arms. They're going to be kind of similar in the sense of like player powers, the Wrathmongers and so on, but very different utility. Because, yeah, very different styling. I honestly really like these units. I wasn't too sure because obviously this is based on Vandred the Majestic's model from way back in the day. But it makes sense. Vandred, there was no point of making a hero, so they might as well turn it into a big unit of really powerful troops. These are going to be better than your Chosen, and you're going to be wanting to use them, that's for sure. I absolutely like how they're interpreted, and you can see them here. Their damage output is quite high. Keep in mind that not only are these champions of Slaanesh fighting against aspiring champions, but there's a Chaos Lord there too, because the tester map isn't working at the moment. So this is really damn good. I've been using them in campaign. I've been playing a little bit with Azazel, and it's so satisfying just to have a Slaanesh champion unit up and running, just doing so much damage. There's bias here, obviously, when it comes to Slaanesh for me, but I'm not going to apologize. This is a unit that never existed on the tabletop. It's brand new, and it's always great to see a brand new unit. The interpretation for the SLAANGORS has been fairly interesting, to say the least. On one hand, they take a more modern approach in terms of design, having the face veil and stuff, which is very, very cool. On the other hand, additional hand weapons. Like, it's not a bad thing, and it very much fits with Slaanesh. It makes them anti-infantry, makes them very, very killy. I would have personally liked a range weapon with them, like throwing javelins, which is something that we saw in Chaos and Conquest, a mobile game for the Warhammer Fantasy series. But hey, if that was not possible, this still works out quite well, and it does add in quite a lot, because you've got something that will help out the beastmen there too, as the Corngors are using the great weapons rather than additional hand weapons, which I find very odd. These can be recruited by the Warriors of Chaos too, which just shows that you've got a lot of stuff that you can do with these Chaos DLCs. I've got them fighting against some Chosen of Khorne, and the damage output is very, very good. Again, there's a Lord also in the mix. I am pretty content. The face veil is really, really cool. I know it's just a small visual thing, but it really makes them look like actual Slaanesh beastmen. It's something that is really important. Visual is really, really important when you're trying to get immersed in these types of things. Pleasure Seekers have been by far the best unit when it comes to the new generic Slaanesh ones. Not only are they incredibly fast, they do a lot of damage, and they can start buffing up with their own regen. It really shows that the Pleasure Seekers are going to be a dominant force when it comes to campaign, and possibly even multiplayer too. They are quite expensive, however, so keep that in mind. But from my own personal experience, I've been sitting down, playing a few campaigns, and I've been running quite a lot of these. If you remember during Thrones of Decay, a lot of people were running the Rot Knights. Well, this is going to be very similar. Their speed is what makes them so incredible at getting right behind the enemy lines and charging in such a dramatically strong way. I do imagine that they're going to get nerfed at some point. I do have to state that right now. Like, they are very, very strong. If they get that momentum in for a charge, yeah, and especially if they come in from behind, it is wild. You'll see a few battles that I've recorded in the coming days where it really shows that these units are going to be one of the apex monstrous cavalry. Fits very well in line with the Skull Crushers, the Rot Knights, and the Doom Knights. Well, the Doom Knights don't really do that much compared to the other three. These are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. A long time coming. It is a shame that there is no Mortal variant. Who knows what happened there? Maybe Games Workshop didn't want to approve that. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Maybe FLC in the future, but right now, these are perfect. Like I've said, I've got a number of battles recorded with these lads, and yeah, they are just so good. Coming in from the rear charge is amazing, and you'll notice it more when you're dealing with stuff which is a bit more fragile compared to, like, Marauder Bearmen, say, for example, just Empire Archers, Bretonnian Peasants, stuff like that. It'll just basically melt, but they do big damage to basically everything. You're going to want these units. The fact that they have Vanguard is amazing, and yeah, there is ways to get Vanguard on your characters if you want to just join up with support with that. PREYTON is one of the really weird ones. This is the final unit, and, well, it doesn't really fit with the roster. There's nothing that screams Slaanesh to me when it comes to a PREYTON. It's never really been associated with Slaanesh, so the fact that it's here is just odd. It is a cool unit, even though I'm not really too keen on the face design. Doesn't really look like the model. It just looks a bit off to me. It's fast, it does a lot of damage, it's anti-large also, so it's a good monster hunter, which gives you that, like, big push with Slaanesh. And I'm going to be very honest with you, when it comes to the PREYTON, I don't think it fits with the Slaanesh roster. Beastmen are going to be very happy because you can pick them up. I don't know. I find it very strange. It is very good for what it is, but I feel like it could have been better if Slaanesh would have had access to, say, for example, the Gigantic Chaos Spawn, which fits more with the theme and aesthetic. I'm not knocking this unit. I'm sure people will find very good uses with it with Slaanesh, more so with the Beastmen. I've been doing a little bit of time with the Beastmen, and yeah, it feels pretty decent. It fits the theme there. You've got some Bray Shamans and so on. You've got, like, the whole lore aspect of it. It just feels very out of place. And regarding all the factions that we've seen here for Tides of Torment, this is definitely the weakest unit that I've seen in terms of just theming. I do feel bad because it's a Slaanesh unit now, and it does perform very, very well. So don't take me, like, complaining a little bit as, like, it's a bad unit, because it's not. You can see it here. Its damage reflection ability is really good against those Chaos Spawn. It's able to deal with infantry quite well, and its missile resistance is quite high, meaning that if you want to, like, go behind enemy lines and just like fly through sometimes to snipe out a spellcaster who's by himself, who's defenseless, maybe some artillery, definitely works out quite well. And I guess that's why they did it. They wanted something really fast for Slaanesh, but I'm just like, I don't know, it doesn't feel Slaanesh-y to me. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, we got some fun stuff, we got some unique stuff. The Beastmen are getting something new, basically, because, well, they're getting 2 new things, but the PREYTON is fully new. It's not just another type of gore, for example. So, yeah, there is a lot there. That being said, yeah, it's mostly hits instead of misses. I'm pretty content. I'm a big Slaanesh fan, for those of you who might not be aware. Like, it is my faction. I've even got a Mark of Slaanesh tattoo. So it's good to see a lot of stuff that was on my wish list here. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. There's a lot of videos coming out. Unfortunately, I won't be live at this point because I should be moving. But by the time that the embargo drops for the FLC stuff, so obviously campaign and so on, I should be able to jump in without a problem. Have a good one, guys. See you soon.